Hello and welcome to CTV News Across Canada for Tuesday, November 4th. We've got the top local stories from coast to coast. Stories that affect you and the country. Thanks for joining us.
¿Cómo está? Bien, bien. Mucho gusto.
The morning after her big win, Soraya Martinez Ferrada hit the streets, greeting commuters at the Saint Michel metro station in 3 languages.
Good morning. Have a good day. Bonjour, ça va bien?
It's here that she won a seat on city council early in her political career, later entering federal politics, where she served as a minister under Trudeau's Liberal government. Now she's circled back to municipal politics, with Montrealers voting her in as the city's next mayor.
Ce soir, Montréal a envoyé un message clair. Il faut du changement.
Martinez Ferrada says Montrealers want change, and that's what she's promising. After 8 years of Projet Montréal at the city's helm, she says she's already getting down to business.
Right now, the priority number 1 for me as a city is homelessness.
The days of dismantling encampments, she says, are over.
If you dismantle, they'll go somewhere else. So we need to address and have a protocol of encampments to reassure citizens around them that you are addressing the cohabitation with citizens, that you are addressing people that lived in their encampments, make sure that they are also safe.
Martinez Ferrada is also aiming to increase the frequency of the metro, improve traffic flow, and review the network of bike paths. Many of her priorities are complex issues, but she believes she can make inroads with the provincial government.
At the end of the day, if Montreal is not going well, Quebec's not going well.
Ensemble Montréal managed to take a number of seats away from Projet Montréal, and several boroughs switched over to the party as well, including Côte-des-Neiges and DG, where City Councillor Stephanie Valenzuela is elected borough mayor.
I'm going to be the mayor that is going to listen to residents and that's going to find ways to bring everyone around the table.
And while Martinez Ferrada is already getting to work, her new role only becomes official when she's sworn in on November 13th. Angela McKenzie, CTV News.
Embers rained down in Glenora over the weekend.
I look outside and all you can see is the flames, as tall as these buildings.
One new infill and a heritage building, Edmonton's first fully gas-equipped model home built in 1935, are now rubble. The neighboring infill house also damaged.
It kind of makes everything come a little bit closer to home. Kind of standing there worrying about, is it going to jump to my house next?
Then, Sunday night in Belgravia, a home under construction burned to the ground, another badly damaged, just blocks away from 2 other suspicious infill fires last week. Neighbors are worried.
It's literally too close to home.
Doug Wiley and Barb Vrolik both live in the area and walk this path often.
I hate to see it become commonplace. It's like every day you walk by and see a house that's burnt out. It's just scary.
It's extremely concerning and extremely scary.
The area's councillor doesn't believe this is a targeted attack on infills. He thinks it could be unhoused people looking for warmth.
We need to make sure that all of us right now are focused on prevention, focused on what can we do. If you're close to a construction site, do you have cameras?
Now, Edmonton police and fire are investigating both of these 2 incidents and 4 others, making 6 in total since October 18th. Jeff?
Staff at this Northwest Pharmacy want to offer COVID-19 vaccines to patients, but their supply is running out.
The demand is actually quite high. We weren't sure what to expect at the beginning of the year, knowing that patients would have to pay for it, but definitely the demand right now is outstripping supply.
Randy Howden has even started a wait list with more than 40 people signing up for a dose.
I think a lot of people aren't putting their name on the wait list because they're calling around trying to find it elsewhere.
Pfizer Canada manufactures the shot for private pharmacies in Alberta. The company says it's implemented temporary allocation measures to help manage supply due to increased demand for the shots.
So we have no idea when more vaccine will be coming or how much we'll get. We just have to watch the warehouse website, and if it comes up available for order, trying to order what we can.
If you purchase the shot through the province's public clinics, it costs about $100. Pharmacies are charging around $136 a dose and adding an additional $20 fee. But some pharmacists are waiving that fee.
It's been a huge mess overall. We're happy that the demand is high, but we're very frustrated that we're not able to participate in the provincial program.
And Calgarians have mixed reviews on the vaccine process.
Put my name on the list, and I went in, got it, and it was that easy. Not happy with the price, very expensive. I was able to put it through for my benefits. I still had to pay, but to pay $100, no, I wouldn't have gone.
Ray Billow and his wife received the vaccine Monday morning from a public clinic, but he says the process has been a nightmare.
My wife and I have been very frustrated with the public healthcare system in Alberta with respect to the COVID vaccination. And this year our experience has been the worst.
As crews make Lansdowne a bit more festive, there are warnings of possible Scrooge-like financing for Lansdowne 2.0.
The city doesn't have a good track record with big projects, so I think it's quite risky. We may all be stuck with a big bill at some point.
The project will cost $419 million, but the city is only budgeting $36 million for contingencies to cover things like possible tariffs on steel and aluminum or supply chain disruptions.
It doesn't seem to make any sense. Yeah, the math doesn't add.
The Auditor General saying if this risk was to materialize, it could require the city to take on additional debt, leaving taxpayers on the hook.
The developer could walk away if we don't have it ready, and we would owe them $13 million. So there's a lot of risk built into this plan that could cost a lot more money. And where does that money go? It goes to City of Ottawa debt at the end of the day.
The Auditor General's report not only raises concerns about very little room when it comes to the financing of Lansdowne 2.0, but it also raises concerns about a very tight timeline for construction.
We are concerned that if they're not using the right types of contractors, the right type of skilled tradespeople, that the job just won't get done on time and on budget, and that will really impact some of the things the Auditor General was saying.
All of this comes only days before the final Lansdowne 2.0 vote on Friday.
And at this point, I don't see any reason why we should not proceed with Lansdowne 2.0. It's a better deal for taxpayers than it was a year ago, than it was 2 years ago. It's a huge opportunity.
It would be interesting if there was several massive condo towers going up and all the construction and years of impact that would have on the neighborhood.
It's all crazy. The neighborhood will be wrecked.
Now, the Auditor General's report does reference the BMO Field expansion in Toronto. That was a 2-year, $120 million renovation and expansion, but it ended up 25% over budget. Again, Stefan, the vote is on Friday.
It's a lot of money. Thank you, Leah.
Right now, this guy is trying to open the train doors.
Chaos inside Union Station as heartbroken Blue Jays fans turned angry, trying to get home after Game 7 of the World Series. While those who did manage to get on transit were squished shoulder to shoulder. As thousands of fans flocked towards trains and subways, many were shocked to see this tweet by the City of Toronto, telling people while the game was heading into extra innings, transit won't wait, and the last TTC train is around 1:30 a.m. The problem is that wasn't exactly true.
Should we have communicated that we are running service and we have the ability to extend? Yes, we should have. So that would have helped, and that is something we've corrected.
Mandy Blolly, the TTC CEO, says there was a contingency plan to extend subway service and deploy more buses, but it was never activated. Lally stands by that decision, but says the TTC will improve communication with transit riders. Now TTC Chair Jamal Myers has brought forward a motion to establish predictable late-night transit service for major special events.
The motion will ensure a united communications approach, giving customers one clear, reliable transit message for big nights across our city.
Councillor Josh Matlow supports the motion, but disagrees with the TTC's decision not to extend service. Matlow is also calling out Metrolinx, which operates GO Trains and the Up Express, saying the service continues to fail the public.
They don't have the trust of Toronto City councillors and beyond because they're not transparent. They're very secret. Metrolinx needs to be just fixed and changed from inside out. They need more people actually fixing problems than the hundreds of vice presidents that they have.
Metrolink says it added additional trains on several lines for Game 7 and held trains as long as operationally possible. The last GO train left Union around 12:30 a.m. and Up Express at 1 o'clock.
We definitely added significant services, and also we don't own those tracks, a lot of those tracks. So our service are constrained by ownership, not having full ownership of our tracks.
In a statement, Metrolink says, "Let me be clear. We are in constant communication with the TTC at all times, but especially when major events are held in the city. To suggest there is a disconnect in our communication or partnership with the TTC is deeply misleading. Speculation and finger pointing are not the way to build public confidence on our regional transit system." However, we asked if the TTC and Metrolinx have met to dissect how the transit agencies can be better.
I ain't had any meetings since the weekends.
There's nothing scheduled?
Not at this moment in time.
Leaving transit riders wondering if service will improve in time for the city's next big event. Now, Jamal Meyer's motion has been adopted. What that means is we should see a proposal on transit late night service for special events being brought forward in the first quarter of 2026. Reporting live, I'm Raheem Ladani. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Raheem.
In this security video submitted to CTV News, you can see two individuals wearing masks walk into the Logan convenience store. One holding what appears to be a gun and pointing it at the clerk. The other has a gas can and pours the contents on the floor. The person with the gun tells the clerk multiple times to stay where they are. Then later yells at them to go outside. The clerk follows the orders and leaves. Then the other person throws something that ignites a blaze. You can see the destruction as flames immediately engulf the store. Firefighters responded to the blaze on Logan Avenue last week. This is the latest in a string of fires that have struck a number of small businesses, including several restaurants like Bougie and Johnny G's. Winnipeg police said Friday they aren't necessarily connected.
At this point, they're investigations, and I'm going to say no, they're not all linked.
But another store owner who does not want to be identified because of fear of reprisal says he and other small business owners are all being threatened to pay up or face arson by the same person.
But everybody's terrified, man. I barely even live in Winnipeg anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I have a home in Vancouver now.
He says he's been told to hand over money more than once or else.
Like me, it twitched up 3 or 4 times. First he wanted me to pay him $5,000 a month or he's going to burn down my store.
He says he's reported his suspicions to Winnipeg police, who said Friday they are actively and aggressively investigating the fires.
Different fires have different motivations. They can be extortion, intimidation, and they can be fraud. And we have to consider all of that evidence, and we have to prove or disprove that motivation.
Police also said Friday they are optimistic they will have more answers in the near future.
All right, looking forward to it. Thanks for this, Jeff.
Waterloo Regional Police were called to the Grand Valley Institution for Women Sunday night for reports of a break-in.
Police received a report that a male had climbed the fence and gained access to the yard and had assaulted 2 victims.
When police arrived, they found the suspect.
A 28-year-old Kitchener male has since been arrested, charged, and held for bail in connection to this incident.
The man was charged with break and enter, 2 counts of assault, and mischief under $5,000. But inmates say they're still nervous from the situation. Diane King has a friend currently serving time at the Kitchener prison. King said her friend, who was not involved in the incident, called her Monday morning to tell her about the break-in.
She was told to go into lockdown, like her and all the other inmates were told to go into lockdown. And her feeling was, if you can't even be safe in jail from people coming in and, to attack you, she felt very unsettled, very unsafe.
Officials with the Canadian Association of Elizabeth Fry Societies hearing similar concerns. The advocacy organization works to support incarcerated women in understanding their rights.
Of course, very upsetting, and we heard from people directly this morning who are incarcerated at the Grand Valley Institution, as well as their family members. They are feeling impacted, they're feeling shaken.
Adding, this is the first time she's ever heard of anything like this happening before. According to an emailed statement from Correctional Service Canada, the facility employs a layered security model combining dynamic and static measures to ensure safety. Grand Valley accommodates minimum, medium, and maximum security populations.
You don't get to choose your roommates in prison. That's hard enough. But then, some outside guy just comes in and assaults women. That was terrifying for her, absolutely terrifying.
The Elizabeth Fry Society adds they worry about the stigma that's associated with those behind bars being labeled as bad people.
We create an environment where harming people in prison is seen as acceptable. And now we have this situation where someone has broke into a penitentiary to cause people in prison harm.
In that email from Correctional Service Canada, it confirmed that the inmates remained on lockdown overnight, but the prison has since resumed to regular operations. Tony.
CTV's Karis Mapp live outside the Grand Valley Institution for Women in Kitchener. Karis, thank you.
Chris Fallman appeared in Saskatchewan Provincial Court on Monday morning, facing 4 charges, including manslaughter, careless use of a firearm, carrying a weapon for the purpose of committing an offense, and occupying a vehicle knowing there is a firearm inside. As the investigation is still in its early stages, the RCMP does not have many details to share at this time.
The specifics of the investigation that was done will be a matter that has to be determined in court. Our investigators did work diligently to ensure that they were taking care of all of the investigative tasks that would lead us to the person responsible for this offense.
The Saskatchewan Major Crimes Branch confirms that Fallman allegedly discharged a firearm that struck 2 vehicles on Highway 39 near Weyburn on September 12th. They're also explaining the reasoning behind some of the charges.
The simplified explanation is, as you said, intent. Murder has an intent behind it, whereas manslaughter does not necessarily carry that intent. So the other charges that were laid in addition were done so in consultation with our Crown Counsel.
The Saskatchewan Realtors Association confirms that Fallman was a business partner of the association and has since had his contract terminated due to these charges. The Weyburn Police Service also releasing a statement to CTV News, saying on behalf of the Weyburn Police Service, we are glad the investigation by the RCMP has led to an arrest and can only hope, pending the outcome of court proceedings, that the family can have some closure to such a senseless and tragic incident. After Fallman's brief virtual appearance in court on Monday, Judge James Corpin adjourned the proceedings to Tuesday morning at 9:30. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
Following a meeting with high-profile federal ministers dubbed a softwood summit, Premier Eby says he finally feels heard by Ottawa.
As of today, I feel much more confident. The federal government understands the severity of the crisis facing the sector.
The feds have agreed to set up a task force with BC, pledging more support for the forestry industry, cratering under the strain of duties and tariffs from the U.S., potentially totaling 55%.
Hour is grave. The moment is serious for us to continue to work together.
Ontario had run these TV ads critical of U.S. President Trump's tariffs. Trump reacted swiftly last week, slapping an additional 10% on all Canadian goods. BC had planned to release its own digital ads on softwood lumber this month. Today, Eby said he's holding off.
I knew that it was a source of anxiety for many people, including potentially the federal government.
The Premier acknowledging frustrations that BC's critical export had not received the same attention as Ontario industries, but relief that it was now seemingly getting its due.
When you look across the country, it's larger than the automotive sector. It's larger than aluminum and steel combined. It has an impact right across the country.
With tens of thousands of jobs in jeopardy, the industry itself says it's heartened by the summit.
We hang on to little hopes here and there, and the fact that the Maine Minister for U.S. Trade was here in British Columbia reassuring us, I think that's hopeful.
Meanwhile, the opposition BC Conservatives placed the bulk of the blame for the sector's struggles on the NDP government, calling the Trump tariffs merely the straw that broke the camel's back.
The bureaucracy, the delay, not being able to access our fiber, all of this is making it uneconomical to operate in British Columbia.
The feds say $700 million in loans previously pledged by Prime Minister Carney will start flowing now, and more support, as of yet unspecified, will be coming in weeks.
The city of Fredericton is no different than most maritime communities. It's seen a massive jump in property values, providing more revenue for the city, but not next year.
It was a profound impact on our budget process and our budget thinking.
The Susan Holt government froze property assessments for next year, a good thing for most homeowners, but a challenge for a municipality's bottom line. It's meant that after 4 years of cuts to its inside property tax rates, Fredericton can't make a cut this year. Rather, their proposed budget sees rates remain unchanged.
So the vast majority of property tax bills next year will be the exact same as they were for 2025. But we have seen large increases, the same as a typical homeowner would have, for lights and power, for fuel, for just regular repairs and maintenance that we see on our aging infrastructure and our vehicles.
Keating estimates the city will lose between 11 and 15 million because of the assessment freeze, enough to also have an impact on what the city wants to do.
We might have to delay projects in year that haven't been completed or not do some of the services in the way that we might have liked to.
The city has managed to increase its public safety budget, important to many as residents have expressed concern over an apparent increase in drug use and homelessness. But Erickson says there wasn't any consultation with municipalities on what a freeze could do. And now he says the city is seeing the impact.
There hasn't been a comprehensive discussion on municipal finance reform to date. That is something that the municipal sector in New Brunswick is expecting out of the current provincial government.
The assessment freeze is to give the whole government time to work on its overhaul of the property tax system, now supposed to be complete by 2027.
And Todd, just this afternoon, the province released its results from consultations it held over the summer on its property tax system. Many people reporting that the system was unfair, it was too complex, but also that they're concerned about what an overhaul of the system could mean. Now, it's important to note that this was Fredericton's proposed budget. It's formally being voted on tonight. Todd.
All right, Laura Brown in our Fredericton studio. Thank you.
The city of St. Thomas is charging ahead in the race to build Ontario's electric vehicle supply chain.
It is a bit like a Field of Dreams vibe, isn't it? With the if you build it, they will come kind of attitude.
Norwegian company Vinode, a global leader in sustainable battery materials, has announced it will build its first North American synthetic graphite plant at Yarmouth Yards. Vinode's products are a key ingredient in lithium-ion batteries, including those made at nearby Volkswagen-backed PowerCo Gigafactory, although no agreement has been made between the two as of yet.
There has been a very public announcement about a GM contract that they have in the U.S., so initially, that's the driver behind the investment in St. Thomas.
In a statement, the company's CEO says, "We've chosen St. Thomas for our first North American large-scale plant because it offers everything we were looking for, a pool of skilled talent, world-class infrastructure, and a low-carbon electricity grid, all close to our customers." The company says the new plant will produce high-performance, low-emission synthetic graphite, a critical material for the next generation of electric vehicles.
We've been working with them for a while, and their team is incredible. It's obvious that they care about their people, and it's impressive how focused they are on sustainability.
Production is expected to begin in 2028, creating about 300 skilled jobs at first and up to 1,000 once the plant reaches full capacity.
We have a 1,500-acre industrial site. Obviously, some of that's taken up with roads and other utilities, but PowerCo is using just under 400 acres. Well, I know it's going to be just under 150 acres for now. And the rest of the park is available for sale.
Experts say Vinode's investment could help stabilize the region's economy, coming in at a time when traditional auto manufacturing has faced layoffs and uncertainty.
These announcements are good news. They're bright spots, and I think they signal a transition to, what's next for the automotive industry in Canada.
With the company planning to supply materials for up to 3 million electric vehicles a year by 2030, the St. Thomas facility is more than a local investment. It's a statement about Canada's place in the global green economy. Rita Ismail, CTV News.